Beloved Creator, all beings of love and light, we are here cognizing our journey is that of a divine nature. While some are seemingly idle or oblivious, their journey is divine as well. This we must be aware of. It is not ours to judge the journey of another or its timing. It is for us to be aware of the one we are on and how to manage the challenges it presents along the way. May our days be filled with grace in whatever is presented, and may we continue to be directed as we go. Let it be so, and so it is.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Hello, my name's Ron Vroman. I'm the old white man talking head for the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. I'm talking about sheriffs. Our grand jury recently found that a true bill was in order for the 36 sheriffs on Oregon because none of them have a proper oath. So the grand jury found that, and that will be tried in October by our petite jury. Now, if our 36 sheriffs don't have one proper oath between them, I wonder how many of the 3,000 sheriffs plus there are on the 48 states of the United States of Washington District of Columbia, Inc. The only two that don't have county sheriffs and counties are Rhode Island and Alaska. So when we found a true bill for those that disregard writs of habeas corpus ad subjiciendum and writs of mandamus, and they were found guilty, and that will proceed with the next best step. The next thing coming up is sheriffs. And it is not due process to be occupying the office of sheriff and making deputies when you don't have the authority. That becomes fraud. So what we're dealing with is fraud upon the people by 36 sheriffs, either appointed or elected on Oregon. And I think that moves out to the other 48 states that have sheriffs. I think they've all been, there's a good one. Do they know it, or is it unknowing? Are they just ignorant, or are they woefully wicked? Hard to tell. Laura's in charge of sheriffs for us, for our assembly. Big job. Lots of information to gather. And in doing so, we find out all sorts of things. We have one sheriff in Douglas County, for example, has 120 deputies. And all of the deputies are sworn deputies, and there's some kind of little technicality that makes things legal and legitimate or illegal and illegitimate. And not all of the counties fulfill those requirements. But patrol deputies must be deputies, deputized by the sheriff to have that job, to do that thing. City police do not have the authority of a sheriff or a deputy. City police are civilians on patrol. They work for the city, not for the people. They work for the corporation. To have city police that were actually fulfilling the job, the city would have to have, what do they call that? It's a document that has a specific name issued by the state to the city for it to become a city owned by the people within that city. Most cities take that document and run over to the county and incorporate into the county. And instead of being a city with a charter from the state, they come back to their city where the cops would have been working for the city, which is the people. The cops are now working for an incorporated entity, an incorporated for-profit business. They don't work for the people anymore. Now, with the sheriff, it's different. The sheriff is the chief executive of each county. Then they make county commissioners, and the county commissioners start telling the sheriff what to do. It's insane. And the sheriffs go along with it. Their sheriff says, yes, somebody gets to tell me what to do because what reason? The sheriff is the chief executive of the county and is required to do his job for the county, for the people. And then they put him underneath a bureau, a commission, a committee, a board of directors, somebody to rule over him. That's not how it works. If the sheriff doesn't do his job, you remove the sheriff. You don't hire, elect, appoint, make a board of directors between the people and the sheriff to get the job done better. It doesn't work. It just keeps rolling out bigger and bigger and more until we wind up with 50% of the population's workforce being employed by governance, city, county, state, and they're all businesses, for-profit organizations. The court you go to is a for-profit organization. Now, back to the sheriff. The sheriff usually has patrol or sworn deputies, then they have administration, and then they have jailers. Not all counties have a jail, but there's some form of jailer somewhere. And those are the ones that report to the sheriff. But only those that patrol deal with us, the people. As long as we're out here being just us on the land and soil, we don't have any need for a sheriff or a deputy. However, if bad guys, and they are around, decide to infringe upon our rights, then we have a sheriff and his deputies to take care of that. The sheriff and his deputies do not have the authority to ride down the highway and select people that they are going to stop and write tickets to. It's not how it works, but that's how they have made it work. Now, the way they do the making of it working has been so complicated and so involved that it's really difficult to unravel. Yesterday, I was working, and the day before, I was working on contacting all the sheriffs, starting with Baker County alphabetically, and finding out who are the deputies on patrol. I'd like to have their names and their email addresses. Now, that seems reasonable. And you go to Baker County and you look at their website, and it's right on the website. Here's all our patrol officers, and here's all their emails. There's 36 counties, and one does it that way. I get a little further down the list. I was in I believe, Hood River County. And Hood River County says, we won't give you their names. We won't give you their email addresses. You can submit a public information request, and we will not do it, period. So we're going to be trying 36 sheriffs. Each one of the 36 sheriffs has deputies. The deputies have all of the same rights, obligations, and responsibilities as the sheriff. If the sheriff has a proper oath, a proper bond, and all his bona fides, then he has the authority to make a deputy. However, as none of them have that authority or responsibility, they cannot make a proper deputy. But we got all these deputies running around, driving their cars, doing their jobs, some good, some bad, and they don't know it. I had a deputy in the Washington County Courthouse tell me, I can go into any county. I'm authorized statewide. And he's not, but he thinks he is. So he can go out and do whatever he thinks he has the authority to do, and nobody's telling him different. His sheriff doesn't have an oath, nor has he fulfilled the obligations of the office. And he's putting people like this Yahoo on the street, thinking he has authority. Over who? Over sovereign Americans, Oregonians, men and women walking around, driving around on the land and soil. They are ignorant. So, Baker County again, gathering information. I need to be able to tell all of the deputies on Oregon. And if one county has 120, I got 36 counties, and we'll say that 120 is an average, which I think is low. I got a lot of people to contact, and I don't need officious people like the one in Hood River that has the authority from their bogus sheriff. Here's a good one, by the way. You look at all of the email addresses for all 36 counties on Oregon, and they're .or, .us, and .gov, and .this, but there's only one that is .com. Only one admits to being commercial in business, which he is, unlawfully and illegitimately. But Matt English, born on Sherman County, Oregon, and now the sheriff, without proper bona fides, is making those decisions for all of the people that are deputies on his county that think they are actually deputies. I think I cannot prove Matt English, sheriff of Hood River, knows what he's doing. I think all the sheriffs know. They know exactly that they are color of law, and they're working for the oligarchy out of Salem. I think they all know it. I don't think all the deputies know it. I think all the undersheriffs know it. I think most of the people that have been around for a while in the Leo business, they know. And they choose to go along with the de facto, which is perfectly all right. Do it. Get along with the de facto. They're there and they have to be accorded their place. It's not legitimate, and we're correcting it, and they don't want to be corrected. The judges are operating courts for profit and doing quite well. Being an attorney for the Oregon State Bar is a pretty good position to have, guaranteed by a bogus statute that you have a position and nobody can occupy that position but another bar member. You are the only counsel available in a court on Oregon operating under Article 7 amended. And most of the people listening to me right now have no idea what I'm talking about. And most of the deputy sheriffs have no idea what I'm talking about, but a lot of them do. And all of the sheriffs do. And that's what we're dealing with, one at a time. We have gotten one of the 10 true bills from our grand jury completed to the trial stage and with verdicts. We have sheriffs coming up, sheriffs on Oregon with no oath to a proper constitution, with the laws of nature and nature's God included. We don't have one. And I don't think there's one on any of the other 3,000 counties. Now, there's been enough training and teaching done already. We need to have some more states of the other 32 states get their work done. We have to remove these bogus sheriffs and replace them with proper sheriffs, with the proper oath, and do business in a de jure manner without fraud. And we have to do it this year, 2024. Won't get any better next year. It's in the declining spiral. www.orsja.org. And I yield.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying. And then he jumps out of the car. And he's got both his hands up. And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, to shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. With his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times.